we kind of get to last month in September, the City Council approved for the first time to form an interlocal agreement with American Fork. They also are installing fiber in their city, and so we were forming an agreement with them to create our own company, basically called Light Hub. So we're creating it to oversee, do the administration side of providing fiber to the city. So they created the interlocal agreement with American Fork. They authorized it and then created it. At the same time, they approved creating a fiber utility, basically, but they did not set the utility fee. And the decision that came out of that meeting was that they would send out a survey to see what the interest was. And at the same time, they would provide an option for people to opt out altogether. If there were people who just felt like this was not the place of the government, they could opt out and not participate. You may have seen this form come in your mail, and you can read through this first letter that was sent, but really the important information on this is what you see on the first page with all of the dates that you need to know for opting in and out. So if you are wanting to opt in or out of this project, just pay attention to these dates and know that you'll need to get it mailed or dropped off or emailed back to the city by this time with your information. Now, as you go on to the next two pages, I wanted to just talk a little bit about what you are seeing on this. So the next page, the city and I have had some conflicts with this form, and I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out what the purpose of this was, because I feel like it put the citizens in a spot of having to decide if they wanted to opt in and take the chance of having to pay more in the long run because not as many people opted in, or if on the converse side, if they opted out and more people opted in, then they would be left in a hard spot with their home values. And so I have had my own personal conflict with this form, but I've asked some questions, and what I've come to is that the city is doing this as a basic survey. So when you look at the opt-in side of this, you can look at this as a survey of, you can opt in right now, and there may be options before we do the bonding. So before we take out the loan, we have to have kind of an exact amount of how many people want to run this to our home, because it will affect the overall total that we need to take out in the loan. But up until that point, there will be some flexibility in opting in or out. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this. And what you basically need to understand in this also is that if there is not at least 50% that opt in, this project may not go forward, because the fiber utility fee that you're seeing right here of $13 to $23 a month is based on at least 50% opting in. So if you decide to opt in, your maximum utility fee that you'll be paying is $23 a month, and then you'll pay your ISP fee in addition to that. So you can look over these numbers, compare them to your current internet fees, and decide if this is something that you're comfortable with, or even if it's you want to have leverage with your current cable providers, you could opt into this just to know that your cable prices may come down in reflection of having another option out there. Now on the next page is the opt-out form, and the opting out is for, again, those that just feel like this is not something that you are interested in, you don't want to be paying a fee at all. And what this will mean is that while we will still run basic lines down every street, we will not take a line off of that line to come into your home. So look over these forms and decide how you feel about the idea of fiber, and if you are in favor of it, if the fiber costs stay within that range, or if it's something that you just don't want to participate in at all. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the referendum that is being circulated. There are people who feel like this is not something that our city should be taking on. So in reference to the passing of the ordinance creating a fiber utility department, they have filed a petition to gather signatures to put that decision to a vote. So that is, when you see those forms out there, you are signing your name saying, I have read the ordinance, I agree that I want this to go to a vote. That is absolutely within the citizens' purview. That is something that you can sign. I just want to make you aware that if you do sign that, and again, that is fine. if it still passes from the vote down the line, what we will be seeing is that we don't know what internet or what bonding rates will be in a year, and we don't know what construction costs will be in a year. What we do know is that right now bonding rates are low. We just refinanced the police station at a 1.65. That is a very low interest rate. Waiting a year could mean that we are doubling or even tripling our interest. Now, I don't know if that will happen. So again, this comes down to your risk tolerance. But that is something that if this passes in a year and we still move forward with fiber, we could be looking at increased costs on our end in order to do that, on top of the cost of running the referendum. So if you feel like this is something that is good for the city, if you feel like this is something you are interested in, I will tell you right now is a good time to move forward with it as far as the rates go. But I can't tell you what they will be in a year. So I'm going to leave that on your table. I know this is a very long video. I don't know if anybody made it to this point. If you are still watching, I will tell you I am in favor of fiber internet. I think that it is something that we need for our city for future purposes.